Today, stocks start pulling back right before the FOMC. However, there's a famous investor that accurately predicted the 1987 stock market crash that says the stock market will do this next. Now, when we come over and look at how the indices fared across the board today, the Dow was down 389 points. The Nasdaq was down 154 points. S&P 500 down 43 points, with the Russell 2000 being down 2.17. Now, when we come over and look at advancing issues versus declining, we had 58.2% of issues declining on the day. Then as we come over and look at the sectors across the board, utilities by far outpacing everything else to the upside, followed by energy. Then look at the big laggard out there today. Healthcare down 2.85. And we come over and look at the fear and greed index, we are still over in the greedy territory. We have a reading of 58. Now, if we come over and look at healthcare real quick, notice here we are on a daily chart. And right as we came right above that, we made it a little bit above the high out here on April 9th, where Trump basically announced they're going to go ahead and pause the tariffs. Went a little bit above that with a hanging man candle. Now we're starting to come back down. Now this is going to be critical. Does this trend line right here hold, or is it about to break and we're about to go substantially lower in this market? Now we come over and look at this article right here. Famous investor Paul Tudor Jones says U.S. stocks will fall to new lows even if Trump dramatically dials back China tariffs. And if we go back real quick and we look at the Wikipedia of Paul Tudor Jones, look right back here where it says 1987. One of Jones' earliest and major successes was predicting Black Monday in 1987, tripling his money during the event due to a large short position. So he knows a little something about calling the direction in the stock market. Now tomorrow at 2 o'clock, we get the federal funds rate. Then at 2:30, we're going to get Jay Powell taking the podium. So here's a question out here. When we come over and look at the probabilities, the market's priced it in. The Fed is not going to start cutting rates until July. What month do you guys think will be the first month the Fed has its first interest rate cut out here in 2025? Now, I don't think it's so much what the Fed does tomorrow. I think more importantly, it's going to be what does Jay Powell say during the press conference? Does Jay Powell come out dovish? Or is Jay Powell going to come out hawkish? Tomorrow, we will be streaming all the way through the FOMC. So if you don't want to miss the next time I go live, make sure you're subscribed. You have the bell notifications turned on for all. Today, we gave away another Take Profit Trader account. And this week, we have more accounts to give away as well. Now, when we come back over here real quick, we take a look at the dollar index today. Dollar index on the way lower. And with the dollar index going down, who do you think was a big beneficiary of that? If you said gold, you are absolutely correct. Gold closing out the day up 109 points. Gold has had some wild swings as of lately. Really over the last couple months or so, we've seen some really crazy moves out here in gold. Then we come over and look at crude oil. Even crude oil was bouncing today, coming right off that zone. We talked about the potential dreaded H pattern. So far, we're trying to hold up. So far being the key word, because if we simply roll right back over down here and we start challenging these lows, watch out, because if we do start to roll over in the near future, the more times we continue to push on a particular low, the more likely that low is going to give way, and we're likely going to go ahead and see much lower prices from that point on. Let's not forget, right now we're in the midst of earnings season. Yesterday after the bell, we had Palantir. And let me give you a little reminder of what happened out here with Palantir. Today, we see Palantir gapping down, actually closing down 12% on the session. We look at Palantir out here on the 5-minute chart, and Palantir basically gapped lower, and now we have this lower level consolidation. To me, that is not very bullish. However, could Palantir maybe start to work up towards this gap above us? Maybe, but keep in mind, we still have a gap below us, and something we always want to be mindful of. Whenever we see a straight leg in the market, we always want to go ahead and grab our Fibonacci retracement, measure swing low to the swing high if we're dealing with an upward swing. Notice where the 38% retracement comes in, 102. Highly probable will come down towards the 50% retracement, which then is very close towards that gap being filled. Now I want to make you guys aware of 3 amazing prop firm deals. Apex Trader funding, 80% off all their evaluation accounts, and special pricings for the 150, 250, and 300K accounts for only $59. Then we have My Funded Futures, 20% off the Starter Plus plan. And if you're new to My Funded Futures, 50% off any evaluation account. And last but not least, Take Profit Trader, 30% off all their evaluation accounts. And once you pass, there is no activation fee, and you get daily payouts. To take advantage of these offers, use the links in the description box down below. Then we turn our attention over here to the SPY today. Notice we have a little bit of a shooting star type of candle, and we're starting to get into that gap from a few days back. On the daily chart, the MACD indicator at this moment still looks extremely bullish. Then on the 4-hour chart, we talked about this last night. The MACD indicator was starting to show signs of weakening, and now we're seeing it just about ready to cross back over to the downside. Then as we jump over and start looking at the 30-minute chart, notice today we gap lower. We almost made it back up here, filling the gap. We just barely missed it by a couple ticks. Yesterday, we had a D as in dog shape profile, which indicates that today was likely going to be a breakout or breakdown from that pattern. Today, we actually broke lower. Now, something we want to be mindful of when we go ahead and we look left, keep in mind, we have a gap right over here. In order for that gap to be filled, we need to come somewhere in the ballpark of 554.29. So now that we push down, we have this consolidation. Will Jay Powell give the market the juice to go ahead and push lower? Is the market going to be upset that Jay Powell is not ready to lower rates and that he may not be lowering rates anytime soon? And when Jay Powell doesn't do what the Don wants him to do, is Trump going to go on a Twitter storm out here tomorrow, which could cause more chaos out here in the stock market? Now, tomorrow, if we are trading below value area low, I really want to push down towards that gap being filled. And then as we zoom out a little bit, let's not forget from the prior week, we still have two other large gaps that still have not been filled at this moment. Then as we come over and look at the futures market, something we're talking about today on the live stream, watch for this minus development area. The first time we come into it, we expect a consolidation or for the market to bounce out. That's exactly what transpired out here today. Then what do? We came right back down. And what we're basically doing, look at the profile so far from this week. If you just slide it right on over, we're starting to build out this area, basically this inefficiency in the market. Now, do we got further to go? I certainly think so. And we saw last week's point of control down here at 55.49.5. Now we come over and start looking at the 30-minute volume profile levels. Notice we're closing right near value area low, which comes in at a price point of 56.25.75. Now the point of control is going to be up here about 56.42 with value area high being up here about 56.49.75. Something else that we talked about today in the live stream was the fact that last night nor today did we hit the P point out here, which really lends to the case that tonight after the markets reopen at 6 p.m., wherever the new P point is, it's going to be highly probable that we target that area. So tonight, one of my Asia session trades, I am going to be looking to target the P point. If we don't hit it tonight, then tomorrow on the live stream, you'll see me targeting that P point out here. Now, if we can stay below value area low right over here, I do want to go ahead and look for lower prices. One, we have that point of control of 55.34, but also when we look out here on the weekly profiles, we have that point of control 55.49. But then at some point, are we going to come back and refill that minus development area, aka the gap in the market from the week of April 22nd? Now, as we come over and look at the QQQs real quick, notice we barely missed hitting our ABC target to the upside. And now we're starting to work on trying to fill that gap right over here on the daily chart. The MACD indicator still looks strong, but we're starting to see a little bit of weakness, a little bit of a rounding effect of that MACD indicator. On the 4-hour chart, the MACD indicator just about to cross to the downside, but now we have a problem. We have a gap that was left behind from today, and we have this gap from last week that still has not come back and been filled. On the 30-minute chart, here's how I want to handle this. Tomorrow, if we're trading below value area low, then I want to turn my attentions towards the gap right over here at about 475.40. However, if we're trading above value area low, I want to target the gap from today of being filled at 485.95. Keep in mind, tomorrow Jay Powell is going to provide plenty of volatility out here for us trade. Then as we come over and look at the Nasdaq futures real quick, similar to what we talked about with the S&P, we came right into that minus development area. We rejected out initially, and then we came back down in towards that area. Now we still have a weekly untested point of control at 19,509.75. And if things start to get ugly, if Jay Powell kicks off another wave of selling out here, or maybe Trump's terror talks take a sour turn, maybe we'll start to see the market working its way back down towards the gap down here on April 22nd. Coming over here and looking at the daily volume profile levels on the 30-minute chart, notice we're closing right within value. And just like we talked about with the S&P, look at the P point. We did not hit the P point today. And even more importantly, we also left behind an untested point of control from yesterday. And as of right now, it appears we're closing below the point of control. So here's a little tip. Whenever we get consecutive untested point of controls, it becomes a very high probability that these levels get tested. Now, if we see 3 untested point of controls, by all means, I'm going to be very aggressive on trying to target that point of control. This one, I'm probably going to go ahead and still try to play towards it at some point tonight or early tomorrow if it had not been taken out overnight. Now, value area high will come in at a price point of 19,948. The point of control will be about 19,000 and a quarter, and value area low will be 19,838.25. So tonight, if we start breaking below value area low, I want to target back down here towards the candle bodies near the low. But if we're staying above value area low, I want to target the point of control, which we're almost back at it right now, then value area high, and then turn my attentions back up here towards the untested point of control. And also wherever the new P point is going to be out here tonight once the markets reopen at 6 p.m. Now, if you guys want to learn 2 different methods of passing prop firm evaluations, make sure to watch this next video right here.